Hey, good afternoon, folks. We're going to talk about working faster inside of Solid Edge today, and just talking about 10 ways to work faster. Some people want to work, more efficiently, more robust, and that type of thing, and we can help with all of those things. But today, I just want to talk about how do you get your information, or how do you find your part faster inside of Solid Edge? And here's 10 ways, just real quickly. We're going to talk about assembly opening options, top-level assembly filter, finding small parts, doing searches based off of properties. They're called queries, resave configurations, snapshots. A lot of people don't use snapshots, but I want to show you how to use snapshots. Dynamic clipping, parts constrained to, zoom to, scroll to, and radial menu themes. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to open an assembly, and I know it's in here somewhere. The point of it is instead of looking for everything, like for instance here I've got all documents opened here, and I'll just pick just whatever part this is. Some looks like some sort of cap. As I pick this single part, I'll just go down to my all documents, and I'll set my filter for top level assembly. So it's going to go out and find only the assemblies that it's in, right? So we don't have to figure out which ones are the top. So I'm going to take this top assembly, and then item number 2 basically is to just use the assembly open options. So if you look at this, we use that top level assembly to kind of find where the single piece part was last used at, right? The highest level it was used. And then I want to open the assembly with these options here, and I'm going to expand that. And down at the bottom of the screen, if you can see that, auto select. Now, what this means is we've set this up inside of Solid Edge as to what is a small, medium, and large assembly. Small assembly kind of typically is like 50 parts and under. Medium is 51 to 1,000 maybe, and large is 1,000 and greater. You can set those in any way that you like. So if you're working with little pumps and valves and things like that, it's always going to open the same way. But if you're working with the whole machine, then that machine is going to open in different ways, and they're going to open the ways that you set them up. So by using this auto select, it's going to say, do you want a small assembly, medium assembly, or large assembly? So I want to just bring this over here, and I'm going to hit that more button just so you can see some of the difference. Again, they're set up, but as I come over here, auto select, it's going to look at the number of pieces, and it says, I think you're a medium assembly, and it's going to open it the way a medium assembly is supposed to open. But I just want to show you what's actually going on. So a small assembly is going to open with all of the parts shown, everything activated, everything as was designed, not simplified. All the sub-assemblies are designed, and if there's a change in the part, it's automatically going to show. It's not going to remind you that it needs to be updated. It's just going to automatically update. Okay, so that's for a small assembly. A medium assembly is going to say, I want to inactivate all of the assembly. All right, talking, maybe 50 to 1,000 parts, whatever. Inactivate all parts, but use them all designed. But on the sub-assemblies, use them as simplified. So I don't need to see every bearing inside of the pump, right? I just need to see the pump as it fits in with the brake system or whatever else. So here's my design, and all of my sub-assemblies are going to be simplified. Now, any of these changes at any time can be changed. So all you got to do is just figure out what you want to do. Okay. So this is my medium assembly. If I come back over to my large assembly, just so you can see this, I'm going to say inactivate everything, use all simplified parts, use all sub-assemblies that are simplified, and then tell me if something's out of date. Now, this might be the whole train locomotive. This might be the entire tractor or the entire bulldozer, something like that. It just says, hey, Bob changed the handle on the window. I don't really need to worry about that if I'm looking just how much the bulldozer weighs, things like that. So when I open this, I'm going to open this assembly any way that I want. And the last thing I want to show you on this is, excuse me, I'm going to open it last saved. So it doesn't matter if it was active, inactive, what was showing, what wasn't showing. The point of it is how did I leave it, or how did my coworker leave it? That's what I'm worried about right there. It's just last saved. So I'm going to just set it and say open it as last saved. Very powerful tool in being able to say, well, how did I leave it, before lunch or something like that. So I'm going to open it as last saved. Now, there's more to this part as I look at this, but you can see this. We'll come over and get rid of our view, but this part is how I saved it last, before I went to lunch or whatever. You can use configurations, and most people are familiar with this, but part of that faster and speed thing is putting all of this together. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to switch configurations, but what I want to do is this is how it was last saved. So instead of making a configuration, I'm going to take a snapshot. This is right in my configurations. This is about 2 or 3 versions old here, but I'm going to take a snapshot. So it's going to remember everything that's on this screen. And then I'll go up to my configurations and I'll say, oh, here's my main all parts. It's going to go out, bring in the rest of that assembly, all 3,000 pieces or so. It's going to go bring in all of those pieces and show them out on the assembly. So I'm here, and then any minute you go, oh, I understand. I see what's going on here. At any time I want to, I can restore the snapshot. It's going to take me out to that individual, the level where it was when I first opened it. Okay, so we'll work on that. Take a snapshot and restore a snapshot in a little bit. One of the other items is to save a configuration, but to resave a configuration when there's a new part introduced or when there's a part that's been subtracted. You see on the deck of this, you see the little flash down here. It's going back and forth. That's just a graphics. And what it's really telling me that there's 2 parts laid on top of each other. And, maybe another might be an might be a rubber mat, might be something. I don't really need it at this point. So I'm just going to take this piece right over here, and I'm just going to hide it. Okay? Now, so this is my all parts configuration. And I think there's one right here. I'll hide that one. There we go. So this is my all parts configuration, so I'm going to leave that. So if you follow my cursor, what I'm going to do is save my all parts configuration. I'm going to save it now, right? So every time it opens up, I don't have to get rid of the floor mats. I just override my all parts or whatever it is. Okay, I'll just override that. The other thing I want to talk about is basically looking at small parts and how we select things. Now, this looks kind of confusing over here by the check or by the select area. It looks a little bit confusing. There's a lot of little icons. We go, well, I've never used those. Well, let me show you what they're doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select parts by size. And this you will need Maintenance Pack 2 for. If you try this without Maintenance Pack 2, you're not going to get the result that you're going to see here. So you want that Maintenance Pack 2. Call us or email us. We'll show you how to get it. But here's the point. I'm going to pick parts as they are relative to the size of other parts that are on the screen. So nuts, bolts, washers are going to come up first. Springs, clips, caps, things like that are going to start coming up later. And this is different in ST8. We kind of talked about this before, but what's happening is it's just jumping to the next size. So I don't have to find, is it 9 or 10 or 12 or is it 13? All I have to do is just keep clicking until I get the size of parts that I want. Okay, now right now, you notice that I'm starting to get like this handle and I'm starting to get these axles down here. Okay, so that's a little bit much. I don't want big chunks missing, so I'm just going to back that off one. Maybe keep backing it off until the axles go away. I might just keep the axles. We'll see what's going to happen. They'll come back up. So I want to definitely keep that rubber handle there. So we'll just leave it that in the gas cap. So I'm going to back that off until I get to keep those. So these are the parts that are small compared to everything else, right? I'm just going to right-click to accept, and then now they're going to be highlighted. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to do it two ways. I just want you to see this. I'm going to say Show Only. Now, it's no big deal, but I just want you to see all of the little pieces that I'm going to take out of this assembly, and that's going to allow my part to go faster. Okay, it's going to allow me to find my bigger pieces easier. It's going to make things easier. So I just want to show you that all the little pieces that are going to be gone. All right. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to go back out to my all parts. They're going to come back on, and I'll do that again, and I'll just say select parts by size, and I'll just keep going up until, like we said, we get that handle. Then I'm going to back down until I don't get that handle anymore. So I want that. I'm going to right-click. And this time, instead of saying Show Only, that was just to show you what was happening, I'm going to say Hide. Okay? My lawnmower is the same. But look at, you can't tell all of the hundreds and hundreds of little clips and springs and nuts, bolts, and washers that are missing. So what this does is it frees up the computer for larger assemblies. I don't need to see the little things. They're still there in the assembly, but I just don't need to see them. Now, the second thing I'm going to do, and this scares some people every now and then, is to actually unload hidden parts. So all of those springs and nuts, bolts, and washers, I'm going to unload. And all that means is I'm unloading it out of the memory. Think of it this way. Think of a boardroom or a meeting room. You're in there, and there's 5 people and 10 empty chairs. So instead of waiting for those 10 people to show up in those empty chairs, we're going to take those chairs out of the boardroom. You see what I'm saying? And we're going to make just a smaller table with just us, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking that placeholder out of the computer memory, out of here. The parts are still in. The parts are still in the assembly. We haven't lost them, haven't deleted them. It's just we've freed up that memory to make this a lot lighter. Okay? So in other words, we don't need to see the bearing that's in the hinge, that's in the ashtray of the car. I just need to see the car, right? I just need to see that top level. So that's what we're doing. We're taking this and getting rid of a lot of stuff. So if I were to come back over here and I've hidden those small things, I've unloaded those, but at any moment, if I were to come back to my configuration and just say, show me all parts, I would get all of the nuts, bolts, springs. I'd get all the bolts that hold down even the sign to the side of the mower, the Dixie chopper. So I would get everything back. So one of the tips that you can use is to unload hidden parts. You can hide a part. I don't need it. They're too small, too large, whatever. Take a door off of a machine, and then hide it. I don't need to see it, and the computer doesn't need to track it. Okay, I can hide that. Then anytime you want to, you can go ahead and bring it back. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is this idea of finding the tools or finding the parts that you want when you want them. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago in the What's New series, but I'm going to use a query. I'm going to go set a filter by properties. And I'm going to just set this by Dale's job. And I will take this and I'm going to edit this and I'm going to show you what it is. So here's Dale's job. Find all parts in the assembly that the author is me and the category is manufacturer. All right, so what what parts what parts are my responsibility in this piece, right? So everything else may be purchased, and maybe sorry, maybe someone else's job to do that. But for my job, what is Dale going to take to manufacturing? Okay, and those are properties that we've set. So we'll just simply take that and go back out to our query and just double click on that, and I'll have just the pieces that I'm working on right there. I have just the pieces that I'm working on. So as I do something like that, I can right click and I can say show only. Okay, so these are only the pieces that I need right here. So I'm working on this, maybe I need to see how this connects with that, or I need to stretch this out till it fits over here or something like that. The other thing I can do to speed this up is say, well, I need a little bit more. I can take both of these. I'm just going to window over what's being seen, and I'll go back up to my select, and I'll say select components or select parts constrained to. And I'll just keep clicking that until it just keeps going out and builds, hopefully it builds the whole thing. But by the time I'm at this level, I don't need to go filter over here and try to find what was missing. I just say, hey, what parts are constrained to that? And now that I have that, I can say show only. And I can be right back up here, and I can now see the relationship between this piece and this piece without trying to tag or define these pieces, okay? Now, the other thing I can do is while I'm looking at something like this, let's say I am interested in this piece. I'm going to right-click on that piece. I'll pick it there, and now I was in traffic. I'm going to right-click on that piece, and then I want to use scroll to and zoom to. Now, you may not be familiar with this. You may. This has been around forever. But I'm going to zoom to, so it doesn't matter if I'm all the way here. I'm going to say zoom to, and it's going to show me that. Okay, so it's going to zoom right there to it. The second thing it's going to do is I can say scroll to, and it's going to open my feature tree and my assembly tree over here, or my pathfinder, and it's going to open that. It's going to show me where this part is. It's going to show me, where it's listed, what part of the history this comes in. The same way, if I were to take some part like this, and I'd say show, and then I'd take, let's just say this part right here, and I'd say zoom to. It's going to go out and show me this bolt right here. Okay, we'll kill that right there. It's going to show me that bolt. Okay, and I can do that with any part that I want to. I can, come all the way down, drag this down, take part right over here, and I'm going to say zoom to. It's going to go out and show me that little cap nut that's setting right there, and that's the part I want to work with. Okay? Now the other way to find information just a little bit faster, we'll come all the way up and take our all parts. Okay? Take our all parts, and then I'm just going to select one part, say something like this nut right here. Okay, and I want to just do a quick visual report on this, like, well, how many times did we use it? Where's it at? Should I change it? Whatever. All I have to do is just take that nut and come over to around my select tools and expand that, and I will say select all identical parts, and it's going to go out and find all of those nuts. Now, what does that tell me as an engineer? That tells me that, hey, I may not want to change that nut, and I might, since there's already 20 of them in there or so, I might want to find another use for it instead of making some alternate nut back here for this bolt right here, right? Maybe I want to use some of these. Why? Because we already ordered 20 of them, 20 of them already. So we might want to use even more of them, okay? So simple ways to get to your product. And remember, I told you that we were going to talk about this, is basically that idea of restoring that snapshot. But you say, but where did I begin? Show me where I began. All I have to do is just say restore snapshot. It takes me back exactly to where the product was when I started. Now, here's what else saves time, and the last two things just very, very quickly, is using themes and saying, I'm filtering, maybe I got a filter theme. If you're not used to themes, go to any tool that you want, right-click any tool that you want, and say Customize Quick Access Toolbar. And these are themes. I've got a couple, okay? Now, in with the software comes the idea of some assistance, maximum assistance, maximum workspace. Under maximum assistance, it's basically hang up and call us, right? No, but at maximum assistance, you can have anything that you want. But look what I've got. I've got complex shape, Dale's Quick, editing import data, new theme. Sometimes I just didn't name it. Presentation theme. So if I've got something like Dale's Quick, those are my quick tools. But for here, I just want to go to my edit import data, and I want you to see that I've got a radial menu over here with my 16 tools that I like. Okay, now that is different. Those tools are different. Let's go to some assistance. They're different than the tools just for some assistance, right? That radial is different than Dale's Quick. Dale's Quick over here maybe it's got a few more things going on. We'll look at my presentation. I've got different tools that I like over here based upon what I'm doing. So if I'm working here in something like editing import data, something like that, I've got what I want. I've got my own set of tools, just like grabbing the toolbox out of your garage, one for the chainsaw, one for the sink, one for the roof, stuff like that. So I've got a theme, and I've drugged that in, and as I come up to the top, we'll just go up here and say, let me look at let's go look at something else. Let's look at our engine cover. Okay, so I've got my engine cover, and I'm starting to work with that, and at any time I want to, I just hold down my right button, and I either take a snapshot or I can restore a snapshot. So in this case, I'm going to take a snapshot. Just hover over that, and I might take 1, 2, 3, right-click, hide. I got to get in there somehow. I got to get to this panel. I'll take you, and I'll hide you as well. Right there, we'll hide you. And then I've got to get to this panel, right? So once I'm at this panel and I'm done, I right-click, and I just simply say Restore Snapshot, and I'm going to get all my parts back out. So this is just a really quick way, 10 ways, if you will, to get more out of this Solid Edge, to make parts work faster and get your information faster. So one is assembly opening options. Use those all the time. Top level, find the part, say what is its top level. Find small parts, hide and unload hidden parts. Search for things by the query, by the properties. What parts belong to me, or what parts need to be manufactured, or what parts need to be purchased. Okay? Take a snapshot, restore that snapshot anytime you want. We didn't show dynamic clipping, but you'll get the idea on that. Find the parts that are constrained to something. Click on something, go back out. I'm going to run back out here just real quick and just show you how powerful this is. Again, I'm just going to take this rim. I got to do something with the drive system. Well, there's the rim. Just came over, and I'll say select parts constrained to. And then I'll just keep clicking. Click, 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 click. That's about it. Right click, show only. Okay, so then here's kind of my drive system. Just that easy takes me back out to the pieces. All right? Well, that's what I've got for you today. Give us a call. Call us at Swoosh. We'll be more than happy to help with that. Any of our application engineers, we help with training, we help with mentoring, we just help with simple support as well. So give us a call. Well, thanks a lot, and we will leave it for today and work with this later on. Thank you.